Sunita Rao, Chief Dietitian in New Hospitals, Bengaluru. Today I'll be talking about the management of phosphorus in chronic kidney disease. Now, in chronic kidney disease, there are various aspects that you will have to manage when it comes to diet, and phosphorus is one of them. Phosphorus is actually a mineral that is present in our bones along with calcium, and it is required for healthy bones and teeth. It also plays a very important role in managing the pH balance in our body. And it is a part of the hormone production that helps in creating or metabolizing the energy in our body. So where do we get phosphorus from? A normal nutritious diet has a lot of phosphorus as it is found naturally in most of the foods that we eat. However, in CKD, as the kidney functions are compromised, the excess phosphorus does not get eliminated in the urine, and slowly the blood phosphorus levels can increase. This is called hyperphosphatemia. And hyperphosphatemia can worsen as CKD advances. Now, in a normal healthy person, the phosphorus levels in the blood are generally between 2.5 to 4.5 mg per deciliter. Whereas in CKD, in stages 3 and 4 of CKD, it is okay to have 2.7 to 4.6 mg for deciliter. Stages 5 and in dialysis patients, it is okay to have anywhere between 3.5 to 5.5 mg per deciliter as per the National Kidney Foundation guidelines. However, anything beyond this can be dangerous. Now, we have to understand that to maintain a normal blood phosphorus level, there are many factors that are working synergistically, and these factors are the vitamin D, calcium, the parathyroid hormone, and phosphorus. So all these four work together in synchrony to maintain the phosphorus level in the blood. But in CKD, this delicate balance is disturbed. Let us take a closer look at what happens in CKD. Now, as I've already told, the blood phosphorus levels can increase, and this is called hyperphosphatemia. And this excess phosphorus that is in the blood can bind to the calcium in the blood and cause the drop of calcium levels in the blood. So this is called hypocalcemia. To worsen the situation in CKD, an active form of vitamin D that is generally formed by the kidney is not formed in an adequate level. So the absorption of calcium from the intestine also reduces, because this active form of vitamin D is required for good absorption of calcium from the food that we eat. Now, there are two reasons. So these are the two reasons why the calcium levels in the blood drops. We have a gland at the bottom of our neck called the parathyroid gland. And this gland, the main job of this gland is to see to it that the calcium levels in the blood are maintained. So as soon as this gland senses that the calcium levels in the blood are dropping, it releases or secretes parathyroid hormone. This parathyroid hormone mobilizes the calcium from the bones into the blood in an attempt to make up for the lost calcium. If your phosphate levels in the blood are still high, this new calcium is also bound to the phosphorus, and calcium and phosphorus salts are formed. So this is like a vicious cycle. The more calcium gets leached from the bones into the blood, but then the blood levels of calcium does not increase because the phosphorus is binding to it. And this leads to weakening of bones called osteoporosis. And the salts that are formed by in the combination of phosphorus and calcium, these salts deposit on the soft tissues like the eyelids, the heart muscles, or the blood vessels, and calcify these soft tissues. This entire complication or the series of events here that I have explained is called the renal bone disorder. This is a serious problem, and to prevent all this from happening, one has to maintain normal phosphorus levels in the blood. Now, to understand, to maintain normal phosphorus in the blood, we have to realize that we have to restrict or manage the portion sizes in the food and know what foods are high in phosphorus and what are low. Now, if you buy a food product from your grocer, the phosphorus content of the food is not displayed on the label because it is not mandatory for that. So you have to know by the ingredients listed whether that particular food is good for you or not. In general, all protein-rich foods are high in phosphorus, and processed foods also are very high in phosphorus. Let us take a closer look. Now, the foods that are listed in the table here are all high in phosphorus. As a rule, dairy products, and in particular, processed dairy products, are very high in phosphorus. Whole grains which have bran or husk on them, like the brown rice, red rice, whole grains, and lentils, whole lentils, that is the mung beans or the chickpeas or the rajma, all these are high in phosphorus. Snacks like nuts and seeds, that is the almonds, walnuts, all the nuts, and seeds like the flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, these are also high in phosphorus. All cocoa containing products like the chocolates or the chocolate drinks, the fast foods and the ready to eat instant mixes, which have food additives, food preservatives, coloring agents, all these will be high in phosphorus. Bottled beverages like the beer, cola, and milk-based beverages like the latte or the milkshakes and chocolate drinks, as I mentioned, are all high in phosphorus. Animal proteins or animal products like the processed meats, organ meats, and certain types of fish and poultry are also high in phosphorus. Now, does that mean that you have to avoid all this? Let us take a look at each of these food groups. Dairy, yes, you will have to avoid, you may have to avoid the processed dairy, but having milk and curd or buttermilk in portioned sizes is definitely okay. And grains, you can have dehusked or refined grains to decrease the amount of phosphorus. And when it comes to animal proteins, portion sizes are very important. Now, in all these categories, there is clearly one category that you will have to avoid, and those are the processed foods. That is, foods like the jam, ketchup, or sauces, or instant or ready-to-eat mixes. These have inorganic phosphates in the form of food additives or food coloring agents or flavoring agents. And these inorganic phosphates are very well absorbed by the body. That is, they are absorbed to a very great extent. The phosphorus from the animal protein, however, is absorbed to a little lesser extent because these contain organic phosphates. Now, when you consider phosphates coming from plant sources, they are least absorbed or they are absorbed to a lesser degree compared to the inorganic phosphates or the animal proteins. That is because most animal products, most plant products have fiber in them, and this fiber prevents the absorption of phosphorus to some extent. So if you look at a processed food or a ready-to-eat food and find any of these salts or any of these compounds in them which are added as food additives, be sure that you have to avoid these foods. Let us take a look at the low phosphorus foods. Low fat milk and low fat yogurt in advised portions should be okay. And as I mentioned, grains which are dehusked or milled grains like the white pasta, white rice, rice noodles, and vermicelli are low in phosphorus. I'm not talking about the instant varieties which comes with seasonings or sauce packets, but the regular ones. And most of the fruits and vegetables are low in phosphorus. Coming to beverages, black coffee, tea with low fat milk, buttermilk, and freshly made lemon juice are also low in phosphorus. In animal proteins, egg whites are excellent sources of low phosphorus proteins. And Egg whites can be one good source of protein for patients in dialysis to increase their protein levels in the diet. Now, there are a few tips that you could follow to reduce the phosphorus in your diet. When you have whole grain flour, you can sieve the flour to remove the bran and reduce the phosphorus in it. Use dehusked lentils and more of dehusked lentils. That is, you can use dals more often than the dry beans like the mung beans, chickpeas, or kidney beans. Avoid processed dairy, but you can use milk and curd in advised amounts. When you are cooking meat, instead of cooking meat in chunks, if you cut thin slices of meat and cook it in soft water in a pressure cooker for a considerable duration, like 20 to 30 minutes, it has shown to reduce a good amount of phosphorus. Of course, portion sizes do matter. Even if you follow these tips to reduce the phosphorus in your food, if you eat large portion sizes of these foods, you can end up with a lot of phosphorus in your meal in a day. So you have to be familiar with the portion sizes, how much a 100-gram portion of chicken or a 100-gram slice of fish looks like, so that you can make proper choices. Apart from the diet modifications, your doctor might prescribe what is called phosphate binders. These medications, when you take along with your food in the middle of your meal, help you to keep your phosphorus levels in the normal range, because these medications bind with the phosphorus that is present in your meal and keep your phosphorus levels low. But you have to take only those phosphate binders that are prescribed for you, and not the ones that are available over the counter. So these are some of the tips that you can follow, and the diet modifications you have to follow to keep your phosphorus levels in the normal range. So read your blood reports, make informed choices in your diet, and keep your phosphate levels in the normal range. Thank you and take care.